Welcome to the Voices for Voices podcast, sponsored by Redwood Living. Thank you for joining us today. I am Justin Allen Hayes, founder and executive director of Voices for Voices, host and humanitarian. You can learn more about Voices for Voices on our website, voicesforvoices.org, Instagram, and Facebook, as well as YouTube. Voices for Voices is a 501c3 nonprofit charity organization that survives solely on donations. So if you are able to, please consider heading over to our website to help us continue our mission and the goal and dream to help 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. Please join me in welcoming today's guests, my parents, Pat and Helen Hayes. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for
Thanks
having
for
us.
having us today.
Yeah, I thought it was important to bring you in and talk about how Voices for Voices got started and how some of the things as a family have really helped propel me in what I'm doing today. And I just thank you for coming in. So I'll just jump in, and the first topic I want to just talk about is dreaming. I remember several years ago being in Dublin, Ohio, and I was probably about 9 years ago, and I had just found out that I was going to be teaching at Walsh University, and that was something that I wanted to do, and to finally get that opportunity was very exciting. And I got a card in the mail, and when I found out about the job opportunity, my now wife Charlene and myself, we were actually returning home from Disney World for a vacation, and so the card had Mickey Mouse on it, and it was talking, I don't remember the exact quote, but it was talking about dreaming and how going after your dream, if you dream, anything's possible, and to go after that. And so when I got that card, really solidified myself in wanting to do more, not just maybe the regular 9 to 5 corporate job of, how else can I help? How else can I impact the community and help others? And that really brings us to the Voices for Voices organization and podcast. So first, I just want to ask both of you about dreaming, and why is dreaming important to both of you, and really go from there.
Okay. I think dreaming gives you hope, and it builds confidence in yourself. And it also lets you know that each day is an opportunity for something new to be available to you. And then it helps you to start realize that true happiness and success is attainable through your daily actions. And so I think we have to be patient and keep working at our passions. Sometimes we want to grow, we dream and we want that right now, but we just have to wait a little while, sometimes, and keep working at it. Yeah.
There's a few things on my end. I think first of all, you have to have a dream before dreams can come true in reality. People who refuse to follow their dreams for fear of what others think are missing out on life. Research has clearly shown that people are more likely to regret what they didn't do than what they did do. I'll repeat that again. People are more likely to regret what they didn't do more so than what they did. The only yes you need is to follow your dreams is yours. Dreamers fail now and then in life, but you learn from failure, and you never stop giving up on your dreams. And like I said, you have to dream before your dreams can come true. And that's all.
Yeah, very, very important. I think it is helpful for our audience that will be viewing this on television as well as audio to understand that dreaming is okay. Sometimes I think society might tell us we have to stay in place, we have to do what we've been doing or what somebody had asked us to do, or a roommate or a friend. And I think finding the niche of what you as an individual or me as an individual want to do and what makes happy, to not just attach a dollar amount to a job, that there's more of an emotional connection to what you're doing, that an organization might be working for. They have goals and aspirations as an organization, and sometimes they don't take every employee and their input into mind. And so as individuals, as employees, as human beings, that things that make us happy and feel validated, I think are huge. And so for our listeners, our viewers, that's something that hopefully over the course of this podcast series that we're very lucky to be able to have now in audio and video, to be able to share with as many people here in Northeast Ohio and the Hudson community, also the United States and across the world, with followers of mine and the organization. And so dreaming is important. It's okay. Sometimes you try things, sometimes you fail. But when you learn from those failures, and once you find that niche or that thing that you really are passionate about, I think that's the point where, as an individual, stress levels might lower a little bit because you're doing something that you care about, instead of just punching in the clock to help a company that has other goals or aspirations. And frankly, at the end of the day, if times warrant, jobs get cut. And so when an individual is dreaming and doing what they want to do, they're a little bit more in control of what's happening. And things don't happen overnight. This organization started in 2020, and it started with an event. And now it's grown to a podcast. It's grown to helping others, Ukrainian refugees in Warsaw, Poland, mission trip our organization did earlier this summer. And I think that when I help others and do things from a small thing of, helping an individual that might be down their luck and give a couple dollars or a bottle of water or something to eat to an individual that might be down their luck, that might be homeless, that some of us might look down and say, well, why don't they just go get a job? And sometimes there are things that we just don't know about. And from having mental illness myself, knowing that there's sometimes things that we don't all see, and to help others is really, for me, an organization is satisfying. And it really began with my parents, and wanting to not just getting that card and reaffirming that it's okay to dream, and it's okay to chase after it, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many no's you get. Babe Ruth said that he had been asked about, does it bother you how much you've struck out so much? And he responded, and he said, yeah, I do strike out a lot, but I don't think of it like that. I think of that each strikeout is one strikeout, one at bat closer to the next home run. And I think dreaming is a lot like that, it may take some time to make those connections, to get input, to get somebody behind you to really give you that boost that you need. Let's move on, and really on that giving back topic, why is it important to you to help others like you both have it and you both do. I know, Mom, you've done many things recently. You're helping at the hospital and being a volunteer. And Dad, you've been with Meals on Wheels and helping out. And I know we do a lot of clothes donations when things we outgrow or we don't wear. So just can you talk about like where that came from, maybe growing up with my grandparents, your parents, and kind of to today?
I think my parents instilled in me helping others, and it's more blessed to give than receive, and I truly feel that way when I am volunteering or giving of myself. There's others in need, and I feel thankful for all the blessings God has bestowed upon myself and my family. And as far as the Meals on Wheels, when I drive for the Meals on Wheels organization, I reflect on my parents and Helen's parents receiving the service at the time when they were at home and weren't able to get out. And it's a very important service to provide, not only the meal aspect of it, delivering, but the face-to-face contact with the person. It might be the only person, you might be the only person, the driver for the meals, that they see all day long. And that's basically where it started from, my parents, and it's more blessed to give than receive, and I truly feel that way when I do give of myself and time and volunteering in that aspect.
And just to add a little bit on my note, when I retired from the schools, I had a lot of time on my hands, and I was reading through the paper one day, and a local hospital was asking for volunteers, so I decided to become a volunteer at the hospital. And my job was working at the information desk, and that's when people come into the hospital and ask for directions and, help them find their way. And sometimes we walk with them, sometimes we, direct them to where they are going. And a small joke of one of my volunteers and myself, we would always say we loved our job because we could tell people where to go, which we just, kind of giggled to ourselves about. But people are very appreciative, going to a strange building and, trying to find your way, and just a small thank you just means a lot, and being able to help people and just see people's smiles, are very heartwarming, yes.
Right now, this time of the year especially, there's a real need for volunteers, different areas. One is Salvation Army, ringing the bell for the kettles. Salvation Army is a wonderful organization that helps those that are in need, and there's just a whole list of different areas you're able to volunteer and give of yourself and help others, and it really does truly make you feel good inside and thankful for all that you have.
Yeah, and I think what's important about what you both said is people think of giving back and helping, that it is always equated with money and donating money, but it's also donating time and just talking and helping somebody get from point A to point B. A relative, a friend, a colleague might be in the hospital and not knowing where that individual is at, which room they're at. So having that service of helping that individual get to where they need to go, and if they do need help. And then again, with helping others not only with a meal, with the Meals on Wheels, but a lot of people that are receiving that service, they might only see that one person that's delivering that meal that particular day, and so that's huge. We don't have to tie dollar amount to when we hear giving and equating giving. For those of us just joining us, this is the Voices for Voices podcast sponsored by Redwood Living. I am your host, Justin Allen Hayes. I am joined with guests today, my parents, Pat and Helen Hayes, and we're talking about life, about dreaming, about giving back, like the organization Voices for Voices that I founded, which our organization is centered on mental health, accessibility, and inclusion, to give everybody an opportunity to share that voice. And I think it's important to give everybody that opportunity, and especially give an opportunity like that to my parents to be able to share that, the big part of my life, my extended family's life, and I think that what we're talking about will resonate with a lot of people. And we talk about faith a little bit, going to church, praying. How important is that to both of you, and how does it make you feel? Does that help with the giving aspect of that thought process? If your parents, again, that maybe instilled that, going to church, being younger, and if you may touch on that topic a little bit.
Growing up, my parents, who are Justin's grandmother and grandfather, and he calls them Grandma and Grandpa Greenhouse because they live in a greenhouse, but it was kind of cool that he gave them that name. My parents were humble. We were just a close family. We were, we lived out in the country, and we just enjoyed each other and our family. And my parents led by example. They took us to church. They lived by their faith. And I try to live like my parents did, and I pray daily, and I attend Mass. And I believe my faith comes by hearing the Word of God. And I believe my faith led me to become an Eucharistic minister at our church, St. Mary's, and which has been more than 40 years ago. And I still feel blessed each time that I serve. And I'll let you.
I think our parents are the ones that form us as a person we become, and by the way they live their lives and the example they set. As far as volunteering at church, I'm a lector at St. Mary's. I felt a need and a calling to be part of the Mass, and a small part of me giving back to God for all He has done for me and my family, and to give thanks for all that we have: life, health, family, and our home, and for Jesus dying on the cross for our sins. I just feel that I'm doing a small part to give back and show my appreciation for what God has blessed myself and our family with. Our parents lived a life and walked a walk, so to speak, through their hard work, dedication, and the need, having faith in their lives, and that spilled over, I think, to myself in the way that I wanted to give back to the church.
Yeah, and for the listeners and viewers out there that might be thinking that, oh, this is a podcast or a talk about you have to go to church and hear things that you have to do. These are just our experiences and what we've gone through. So if that is something that you or your family or colleagues or friends do, that's great. I'm not here to push anybody to one particular faith and that you have to do something one way or the other. I think what the important thing that I want to really get across is find that, again, coming back to the dreaming, find that thing that you like to do, that you're passionate about, that you would do for free, and find the ways that can help you optimize that. And so for myself and my family, going to church and being Catholic and praying and being part of the men's group, those are things that after many years of falling away from the church, those are things that I feel that they're helping me. If that helps you, great. If there's something else that helps you, that's also great. This isn't a push one way or another. Again, the organization is Voices for Voices. So everybody has that opportunity to have that voice and share their voice and their experience. And we have had plenty of guests on the Voices for Voices podcast of varying degrees of faith and non-faith and things that have helped them. And so I invite you to take a look at our other podcasts that we had and definitely into the future. Find that thing or those groups of things that help make you happy and that you're passionate about. And if there are things that help optimize it, whether it's eating well or exercising or spending time with family or traveling, whatever those may be, if those help in any small way or big way, go after it. So I just want to put that disclaimer for anybody who's watching or listening, thinking that this organization is all about going to church and faith. And really leading into our last topic is traveling. Our family, my mom and dad, my wife Charlene, my now 3.5 going on 4-year-old daughter Rosemary. We like traveling, going different places, different areas, and we find that for us that when we go to different areas and travel, that we get an appreciation of things, of whether that's things that we have at home that we might take for granted. I know with our organization and going to Warsaw, Poland, and helping 200 Ukrainian refugees, that definitely put in perspective and really centered myself of like, wow, like, what would I take with me if I had an hour or 30 minutes to pack one bag and to leave? And so little things of being able to take a shower, to eat a meal when you want to eat it, where you want to eat it, not worrying about air raid sirens and those types of things that you don't have to worry about. And so with kind of this last topic, talking about travel, and how has your travels throughout the years and your recent trip to Europe maybe helped just put in perspective of learning things maybe, and then not finding things we might take for granted?
We just had the opportunity finally to make the trip that was always a dream of mine, to go to Ireland and the British Isles. We were able to finally make the journey this past October. It was a 2-year wait because of the pandemic and the virus. Put everything on hold. The countries were shut down. but we were finally able to make the journey to Ireland, England, Wales, and Scotland. Myself being a golfer, one of the dreams I always had was to play and see St. Andrews golf course where the British Open is played on the old course. I didn't have the opportunity to play, but we had the opportunity to walk some of the fairways and actually walk on the same grounds as what all the great golfers and where the golf was originated, and to see it firsthand and in person and live, the places that you see on television, at the time you're there, it strikes you a little bit, but the further time goes on, it really hits you that, hey, I was there and we were there. And as far as the other aspects of traveling over to the British Isles, seeing places that you see on television firsthand, the educational part, the architecture. We were in England, and where the Queen's funeral was, we saw firsthand that we had seen on television when it was taking place. Traveling just kind of gets you away from the daily grind and fulfills maybe some of the dreams that you've had about going to places and seeing different things. Okay.
You covered that very well for us. I guess I just wanted to add at the end of this, as your mother, Justin, the trip you took to Poland worried me a lot for your safety, but we're thankful everything worked out for you, and for you to want to help people, help strangers, to take clothing and books and personal hygiene items and buying food for people who were very hungry. As your parents to our son, it warmed our heart, and thankful that you would even think to do this and then you made it possible. We just want to let you know that we always will support you and look forward to your next adventure, wherever, whatever it may be. Thank you for having us.
We're proud to have you as a son, and for all you do for humanity and the person you are and have become through your life. So
thank you for having us
thank
today.
you for having us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. As Taylor Swift is going to be kicking off her Eras Tour in 2024, this podcast is taping audio, visual, everything 2022 going into 2023 for Voices for Voices. It's a new era for us to be able to bring the voices of everyday individuals to the world and to help individuals. So I want to thank you for joining us for this episode of the Voices for Voices podcast. Thank you also to our guests, my parents, Pat and Helen Hayes, for spending some time with us. Until next time, I am Justin Allen Hayes, founder and executive director of Voices for Voices, host and humanitarian. Have a great day and be a voice for yourself or somebody in need.